Thursday, September 14th, 2017. Monaco 64 here. So I want to look at the dollar, particularly the dollar index, talk about the markets where we are this morning, and also talk a little bit about the cryptocurrencies. We've had a price correction in the last few days. So let's start with where the markets are. So it's 11:20 a.m. London time. Spot gold is at 1323.70, up 65 cents. The range has been 1319 to 1327. Silver is 1774. The Dow is down 7 points. Dow futures 22,138. S&P down 2.5 points, 24.95. Crude oil doing quite well. It touched $50. The WTI, the front month, it's 49.95 right now, up 30 cents or 2/3%. Pound virtually unchanged, 132.05. We've got the MPC, the Bank of England meeting going on today in about 30 minutes or at 12 o'clock. They'll make their decision. They're expected to keep rates at almost zero or 0.25%. The expectation is that there will be 7 votes for unchanged and 2 votes for a hike. So that's probably more important to look at in terms of the decision. How many, if the vote expectation is the same, they're not going to do anything. They're not gonna hike rates, even though the cost of living is going up at least 4% in the UK year on year. What else? The euro is around 119, 118.96, 119.10 has been the high, and 118.65 the low. The dollar is a tad weaker against the yen, 110.42, only down 5 pips. Narrow range, 110.34 to 110.74. So I just want to look at the dollar index because I think what we're seeing right now is a correction in the dollar, a correction higher. I think the longer term, well, even medium to longer term trend is down. I think we've seen a long-term top late last year, beginning of this year, above 103 in the dollar index. And I want to go through a chart here of the dollar index. So you can see here the top. Yeah, that was first week of the year we got up to 103.82, the high in the dollar index. And ever since then we've been making lower lows and lower highs. It's clear, it's like very clear that we keep making lower lows and lower highs, and the trend is definitely downward. The other interesting thing is that we've tested and then broke in the last few weeks below the low from last year in May 2016. That low was 91.91. Recently, let's have a look here. On the 8th of September, we traded down as low as 90.60. You can see we're rebounding right now. We're at 92.37. I mean, we could still go higher, maybe even towards 93, just below 94, and still be on a downward trend, still be making lower highs and lower lows. But right now, it looks like the resistance is a previous low we had there in the beginning of February, which was at 92.54. After that, we had a good correction higher above 94, and then we went back down. And right now, yesterday's high was 92.53. So it looks like that 92.50, 54 area is the key resistance for the dollar index. Difficult to say exactly when it's going to turn back down, but as you can see, I think the trend is definitely lower, and maybe that, and that's probably why we've also seen a little bit of a correction in gold and silver as the dollar has rebounded. But as you can see, it just looks like a counter trend rally, nothing more. So cryptocurrencies. Yeah, we had the comment from Jamie Dimon a few days ago. I haven't really talked too much about that. CEO of JP Morgan. You know, even if there are cryptocurrencies that are a fraud or a scam, even if you believe Bitcoin is a scam or a fraud, and even if it isn't, you know, to say that it is a fraud while, you know, you're part of a banking and monetary system that is a fraud is like the pot calling the kettle black, Mr. Dimon. You know, when you, I'm sure that if you had like £1 million, or sorry, $1 million at JP Morgan in your account, and you went there, you know, to, you know, JP Morgan, New York, and you go into the office and you say, I want to withdraw, you know, $1 million in cash right now. Would they be able to do that? Probably not. And, you know, or if you go even to a JP Morgan branch, you know, somewhere else in the States, JP Morgan Chase, and you've got 100,000 in your account and you go there and you want 20,000, they're not going to have it. You know, it's called fractional reserve banking, and that's the biggest fraud there is, because banks lend money that doesn't exist. They create money out of thin air, and if that isn't fraud, Mr. Dimon, I don't know what is. I think Mr. Dimon is just like, you know, kind of worried. I listened to a video from about 4 years ago by a Swedish guy, Falkvind, I think is his name. He's the founder of the Pirate Party in Sweden. He's into cryptocurrencies, and he gave a speech about 4 years ago about Bitcoin. And one thing he said, Bitcoin is going to be to banking and money what the email has been, you know, to the traditional postal service. Is just basically going to put it out of business. How many people still write letters and postcards? Very few. I mean, so maybe Mr. Dimon is starting to feel a little bit, you know, worried about the competition. Even though, you know, the market cap of cryptocurrencies is still just probably come down now a little bit with the correction we've had. I see here that Bitcoin and Ethereum is adding up now to, let's see, just under 90 billion. So yeah, just over 100 billion, so still very small. I've said in the past that cryptocurrencies have moved very quickly. You know, Bitcoin traded up to 5,000 like a year ago. We were, or even earlier this year, I think we traded, you know, back down a few months ago, back down to 1,700. Looking at the moving averages, Bitcoin and all the other cryptocurrencies are a bit overdone. So, you know, and every time there's a big correction here, people say, oh, this is the end. Cryptocurrencies are finished. I don't think so. I think too many people focus on prices, and I guess I do too as well, you know, with gold and silver. But we need to focus on the value of the blockchain technology and all the big innovation it could bring to not just cryptocurrencies, but also the way of doing business, the decentralized business model, which is a hallmark of the blockchain. And with that, I just want to quickly go talk about, there's an article in the FT today, and it says, to coin a craze, Silicon Valley's cryptocurrency boom. And it talks about all the, you know, ICOs we've had this year. It talks about the pros and cons. It says that, you know, it's a good way to raise venture capital. But they also compare it to the dot-com boom, you know, where pets.com, anyone who had a .com next to his white paper or prospectus would raise capital. Yeah, it's a very interesting article. I think it just goes to show how it's starting to show up, all these ICOs, and that it could be a new way of doing business and decentralizing everything. And just read a little bit here. It says, flood of initial coin offerings is aimed at bypassing Google and Amazon, but skeptics fear a bubble. yeah, there's always two sides to a coin, you know, and but you know, there are a lot of ICOs out there. Of course, some of them are just like scams. Some of them have legitimate business applications, in my opinion. Some of them maybe don't need a token. They could just raise money through the ICO market and run a normal business like Casutel, though I did a sponsored video about them. They're raising money through the blockchain, through Ethereum, to start up a high-speed internet company in Western Africa. So nothing to do with their business, is more like old style technology, but using the blockchain. And then there's also, you know, BitClave, which I made a sponsored video for. They're trying to like, you know, bypass Google. They're trying to do a search engine, Google and Amazon, a search engine where you know, people who search for things, you know, who want to buy things, and people who want to sell get together, and they bypass the middleman. Will it work? Maybe, maybe not. So I think the BitClave ICO starts tomorrow, and there's many others. So very interesting. You know, Jamie Dimon, pot kettle comes to mind. And that's if you consider cryptocurrencies a fraud, because many people don't. Maybe Jamie Dimon doesn't quite understand the power of the blockchain and how it could make everything more transparent. You know, in this FT article, it says here towards the end, let's see, where is it? Yeah, it says the general, this is from Mr. Huang. He's like he's in the article here. I forgot exactly what he is. Matt Huang of Sequoia Capital in Silicon Valley. He says at the end of the article, the general idea of a sharing economy for computational resources is a rich vein. It doesn't have room for human misbehavior. So that's the interesting thing about the blockchain and cryptocurrencies, smart contracts. It's very difficult to cheat because everyone, all the developers and the people who program, they see what's going on. I know there's been like scams during the ICOs, people you know, sending links for you to contribute to the ICO, and it's not from the real ICO company. Yeah, we have to be careful with that. There's going to be scams everywhere. But in the long term, I think it's got a bright future. I think focusing on the price of cryptocurrencies and how high it's going is not really the right idea, in my opinion, about cryptocurrencies and the blockchain technology. I think it's focusing more on the potential for different applications that we can make from it. So yeah, if you enjoyed this video, please like, share it, and also subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet. You can also follow me on steemit.com and on Twitter, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.